Hello guys, welcome to Kalish's Tech Fusion channel and I hope you are doing well. In this session we are going to discuss about WSL, which is nothing but Windows Subsystem for Linux, which is available in your version of Windows. This is basically helpful to run couple of Ubuntu or Debian type of missions, which is something like if we want to practice something like to learn Linux, or if you want to learn some Bash scripts from Windows. So all those types of environments we can execute it from our Windows mission. So for this scenario, we'll be using and we'll look about that distributions and the flavors which we will be having on this Windows to use. So we will look about that going further. For now, let us see how to enable this WSL on Microsoft Windows. There are two ways to enable this feature on Windows. One is something like we will be going to turn on Windows features on or off, and then we will be just enabling this Windows Subsystem for Linux. Just check this box and click on OK. It will try to install required packages, everything for Windows Subsystem for Linux from backend. And if required, it will prompt for the reboot, and we have to take the reboot of our Windows machine. So that's how WSL will be enabled on our Windows machine. And the other way is something like we will be using a couple of PowerShell commands with administrator privileges. So run as administrator. And so now the PowerShell is launched, and then you can just now the PowerShell is launched, and then we can just run this command to enable Windows Subsystem for Linux. So just you have to enable this, and then you can see here the deployment, image servicing and management tool, image version, all those things, and the operation is completed successfully. And there is another way to disable, there is another command to disable this WSL if you doesn't require. This is the command which we are going to run, and you can find the difference here in the previous command enable feature and current command we are trying to execute disable feature, which will disable WSL. So for us now to continue about the WSL, I'm canceling this. So there's are two ways of enabling Microsoft Windows Subsystem for Linux. One is through UI and other one is from PowerShell. So this is how we'll be enabling our Windows subsystem for Linux, which we call as WSL. And basically, like compared to other virtualization tools, in other virtualization tools, we can install Windows virtual machines and then Linux virtual machines and then Ubuntu, like whichever the OS we have, ISO files, we can execute that. But in WSL, it's something like only some type of Linux flavors only we can run, which is helpful to do some coding type of practices, and if you want to run a couple of things on our Linux based packages or something like that, we can test it. So this is how WSL will be helpful in real time, where we'll be using a couple of development projects. So for now, let us see a couple of commands in WSL where we can enable or install some type of WSL flavors or distribution, something like that. So before going to check about WSL commands, so how we can get the help directly from WSL? So it's something like WSL hyphen hyphen help command, which is going to give complete list of commands and options and arguments which we can use it with WSL. So if you see here, there is some exec which execute the specified command without using the default Linux shell, and which is something like it will be executing from command line, and then shell type execute the specified command, the provided shell type, if something like that. So basically, this is some advanced commands which will be useful, and once you start familiarize once you get the familiarity up with this WSL. So for now, if you can see one of the command hyphen hyphen unregistered distro, which is required to unregister our currently running what subsystem, which is something like Ubuntu or Debian. So for now, let us see. if I have any WSL missions running, which is nothing but WSL-L, which is going to list, which is something like this. So hyphen list is a full command. Hyphen L is a short command for that, which is showing I have Debian in my system, which is a default currently running. And for now, that's running. Now I wanted to check what and all available uh, distributions to enable. So it's something like this. So you can use this command WSL list online, go which is going to show as the available distributions which we can execute on our WSL. So if you see here, we have Ubuntu, Debian, Kali Linux, and there are different versions of Ubuntu, which is something like server versions, and this may be the desktop version. And then we have Oracle Linux as well, and OpenSUSE Live, and then SUSE Linux, and OpenSUSE. So these are different types of distributions which we can use with our WSL. So if you see here, WSL install distro, which is nothing but the distro name, which is Ubuntu, Debian, or something like that. So if you have to install something like that, you can just WSL install and then give something like Ubuntu. Let me run this Ubuntu 22.04. So which is going to download the required packages or images, and then it will try to install. If you see here, it's trying to install Ubuntu 22.04 LTS, which is the friendly name which I gave from here is a friendly, name of that, and it's a complete friendly name it is showing. It's going to install this. So basically, it tries and get that image from internet, and then downloads everything, and it will get installed it over here. And for now, it will take time as I have already execute. Okay, so it's going on. Let us see if it completes. So it's a 22%. So basically, it will take some time to complete this installation. So when you use the WSL, you doesn't require to install. If your main purpose to use only some type of Ubuntu or Debian or this type of Linux flavors, then you doesn't require to install any Oracle VirtualBox, VMware Workstation, or it doesn't require Hyper-V, or it doesn't require KVM in Linux, something like that. So you can just enable WSL in Microsoft Windows, which is a pretty good option, which doesn't require the licensing part as well. And you can just enable that, and you can access the this Linux flavor, and maybe you can just use from command terminal as well. And for now, Ubuntu is taking time. Let me explain about the Debian, which is already available. I have installed the similar way, same like WSL install Debian. So let us consider now Debian installation is completed, and then when you launch for the first time, it will ask for the username and password. And once you set the username and password, and from the next time, it is not going to ask the username and password, it is going to log in automatically. And just keep in mind, whichever the username and password you are giving for the first time, that is going to be your root username and password. So now we are inside this Debian, and you can run anything, whatever you want, and you can just check it out. You can just write some command files or script files, something like this, and you can write some script inside that. So just for examples, I am giving a couple of one basic script file I'm trying to run. And just if you run that, it's showing, see, I gave the command ls, which is having only one file, and then I have run who am I, it's giving the user ID and pwd present working directory. So something like that, which we can't run these script files on our Windows, which we can test it, or you can build, or you can modify on the Linux or Ubuntu flavors like this. So this is how we can do that. And If I just check it out, the status is still, it's taking time. So for now, I cancel this and it has been, oh, it didn't cancel. Ubuntu installation is completed. It's showing. Let us see. So it's installed. Now you can see that enter new Unix username. So I'm giving the username and some password and confirm the password. So the operation completed successfully. Now, if you open the terminal and here this message shown once a day. So if you see here, installation successful, command administrator user root use sudo. So it's something like we can use sudo on Linux. We will discuss about that more in another sessions where I'll be explaining about the Linux administration. And then this is the configuration done. And right now, if we just go back, so if you see here, previously I was on my PowerShell. Right now I am inside my uh, Ubuntu mission. So if you want to check the operating system, you can just try to check this. So you can see here distribution ID Ubuntu and the release is 22.4. Description it is Ubuntu 22.0.4.2 LTS. So this is how we have installed Ubuntu, and you can just configure SSH and you can access it through SSH as well. If you want to have some clients for log purpose or something, if you want to get for different types of configurations or different types of testing, you can use SSH as well for this. So once you are inside, you can just check it out, whatever how you will be working with the Linux operating system. Similar way, you can check everything over here. So this is something like we have set up the this Linux Windows subsystem for Linux. If you want to share something like files, anything on your local desktop to local, I mean base mission to this WSL mission. So something like this, you will have WSL dollar where you can access that, and you can just go to home directory, and this is the home directory I'm inside. And if you see here, I have this file which I have just created here. So I can access that file here. I can edit, modify, and you can test that from. Yeah, it's asking to allow trust this file. So I just trusted, and then you can see here if you want to modify something in the script, you can modify this. So let me. So right now I have modified the file from my Windows based machine, which is saved on my WSL home directory. And if you check that, you can see here I have given that cat for a host file. So if I run my file, sorry, oh, I think I haven't given the more execution permissions. That's the reason it's not. So I run that file, and right now you can see that other than ls and who am I and pwd commands, I can see the contents of etc host file as well, and you can see a couple of entries which I was using for my lab purpose. Those IPs and their host names are available on the host file. So this is how we can just set up one of the Linux or Ubuntu mission on our WSL feature, and then we can start using it. That's majorly required things to know about WSL to work on day to day if we want to run couple of development activities, or if you want to test some scripts or something like that on Linux flavor, and you don't require to install the high virtualization tools. So this is how you can use this, and I hope this is very informative for you, and I hope it will help you to complete your development activities and testing activities on your laptops, to avoid some cost to build or have separate types of systems, physical systems or virtual servers running on production or data center side. So if you have any queries, please do let me know in the comment section. I will try to clarify them. And if you like this session, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in my next session where we are going to create a couple of virtual missions on Oracle VirtualBox and VMware Workstation. And with that, we will be good to create some virtual labs on our personal devices and start practicing a couple of scenarios depending on the requirement. And we will see about that going further. And I will see you in the next session. Thank you so much.